My name is Ada Agilagita Kirana and my student number is AAA118056. And this is my video of final projects in English teaching media. On this material or video today, I use PowerPoint and YouTube as the platform. The reason why I use PowerPoint as the media because as we know that PowerPoint is very familiar for both the teachers and the learners also. It is very easy to use and it also contains some facilities such as graphics and then multimedia to support the learning styles to make it more fun for the students. And why I use YouTube as the platform because I believe that every student using smartphone and video is a great platform to reach them. YouTube is highly optimized for the mobile device and the majority of students is already using it. Now happy watching! Good morning everyone! How are you today? I hope all of you are fine. And before we start the class today, let's we pray together. So pray begin. Finish. First of all, let's we check the class attendance and then we can start the material for today. Today's materials is about narrative text and then the purpose of learning narrative text for today is first, understand the social function, text structure, and linguistic elements of the narrative text in the form of folklore according to the context of its use. Second, capturing the meaning of the narrative text, oral and written, in the form of folklore, short and simple. So, is there anyone here that could give the example of folklore in Central Borneo? Right, is there so many folklore in Central Borneo, but some of them are Nyai Balau, Asal-usul Pulau Nusa, and Batu Banama. So, yes, folklore is one of the example of the narrative text, but don't forget that narrative texts also have some example again such as fable, fairy tale, legend, and many more. Now, let's watch the example of the narrative text which is a folklore named Fish Without Scales.
Fish Without Scale. This story was happened in Henda district, a small district along the Kahayan River side in the southern of Palangkaraya city. Once upon a time, a colony of worms attacked the district. The first time, they attacked planes. The planes ran out. Then, the worms began attacking the animals, such as chickens and pigs. After that, the worms began to attack human beings. In this situation, a man climbed up a tree which grew up at the side of the river. The tree was bended down right to the water of the river. Suddenly, this man heard a voice from under the water. It said, "Jump to the water. I guarantee that the worms cannot reach you." The man looked at the people who are attacked by the worms. Finally, he jumped into a river. The worms still follow the man to the river. When the worms reached the water, all the fish without scales, such as catfish, lice, and baungfish, came and eat the worms. All the people followed the man jumping into the river, and the worms went back to the land. Then the fish said to the people, "Do not go far from the river and live here. If the worms come back, I promise to help you. But what can you do for me?" Then the people decided to live near the river. They also promised not to eat the fish without scales.
Now, let's jump to the material. First of all, what is narrative text? Narrative text is a text of story of a series of connected events presented in a sequence of written or spoken word or in a sequence of moving pictures, or we can say it as a imagination story, It can be a fairy tale, mystery, fable, legend, folklore, and many more. But our focus today is absolutely about the folklore. What is the social function of narrative text? The social functions of narrative text is to amuse, entertain, and to deal with an actual or vicarious experience in different ways. What are the language features of the narrative text? So, narrative text use past tense, adverb of time, specific characters, action verb, and direct speech. Now, what is the generic structure of the narrative text? The first one is the orientation. Where is the opening of the paragraph? Where is the characteristic of the story is shown? The second is complication. Where is the problem of the story is developed? The third, resolution. Where the problem of the story is solved. And the last one is reorientation or the lesson from the story. So, is there any questions? If there is no questions, we jump to the group discussions for today. So, the group discussions consist of 2 people, and I will give you 10 minutes to discuss about the social function, language feature, and the generic structures of the video that I give you before.
And now, I have an assignment for you, and please, next, submit it to the class leader, and after this, we will discuss the answer together.
The questions consists of 3 questions, which is very easy because we already learned about the material before. So the first question is, where is the story come from? Is there anyone here who wants to try it? Okay, yeah, that's right. This story was happened in Handa district, a small district along the Kahayan River side of the southern absolutely of Palangkaraya city. Now, the second questions. Mention the specific characters on this story. Is there anyone who can answer the questions? Yeah, that's right. The specific character of the story is the main, worms, fish without scales, which is catfish, lice, and bonefish. And the last question is, what is the complications of this story? You're right, the complications of this story is when the worms start to attacking the district, and then they attacking planes, animals, and the last one is humans. All of you already doing a very good job for today's assignment or equations. I think because of that, I believe that all of you already understands about the narrative text. What have you learned today? The conclusions of today's material is we learn about what is narrative text, which is a story of series in written or spoken forms, and then or we can call it as the imaginative story. It has so many examples such as fairy tale, mystery, fable, legends, and the most important things that we learned today is about folklore. And you guys also know all the example of folklore in Central Borneo is there Nyai Balau, Asal-usul Pulau Nusa, and Batu Manama. But the most important things that we learned today is about the story Fish Without Scales that comes from our district, which is Central Borneo. And then we also learn about the social functions of the story, the language feature, and narrative text. So I think that is the end of our lesson today. If you have any questions, you can ask me later. Thank you for your attention today and see you in the next meeting.